Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and in this one I'm going to be using a piece of magazine collage to use as my focal point on my page. So I'm just having a flick through this magazine, and just what I tend to do is look for an image that speaks to me, and sometimes if I see one that I quite like, I'll pull it out, and then just keep looking until I find something that I think, oh yeah, is that one? That's the one that I need. So I carried on flicking through and came across this one that I am cutting out now. So sometimes it's as much about the pose that the person in the magazine is using as it is the colours and things that are in it. Sometimes it's the colours that speak to me, and sometimes it's just the way that that person is posed as well, and what the way they're looking. So here, because I'm playing in the large craft journal, I'm adding in some clear gesso, clear white gesso, that doesn't exist, clear gesso to my page, just to prime it ready for paint and all the things that I'm going to do. So then I have squeezed on some lime paint, and I'm just adding that across the page, pulling it from one side to the other, using a dry brush just to get that first layer on. And here I'm just kind of spreading it around, pulling it out, so I'm getting rid of most of the paint on my brush. Now I'm using fur and using this circles for painting stencil and just adding that colour over the top of the lime. So it's a really nice contrast because it's a lovely dark colour, but it works really nicely because it's an analogous colour. It's in the same colour family, can't speak, so that works well. Here I'm just checking where the image is going to go. There's no point putting lots of work into the background behind where my image is going to hide it, really, because that's just really silly and a waste of time. Then I've glued her in, and I'm just using a brayer there just to squeeze out any bubbles or little lumps in the image. So this is my Bee Leaf stencil, which I released through Funky Fossil, and I'm just using this with a little bit of evergreen just to soften the edges of those circles that I've added in. And you can see that's because I'm using a kind of smooshing movement with my blending tool, it is creating that kind of nice soft effect. This is my leaf stencil and mask stencil, which is also from Funky Fossil, and here I am using I think that might be mineral over the top, and I'm just adding in some of those botanical elements onto my page as well. And here, instead of using that smooshing movement, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I can't talk, apart from the fact it's been a really long day and I am very tired. I'm using a pouncing motion here with the blending tool because I want a heavier layer of paint to come through. When I used the little leaf one, I wanted just a thin layer of paint. So just these little techniques, they're different ways of getting different thicknesses of paint onto your page, quite useful to know. So then once it's all really well dry, I'm going in with my Signo Uniball in white, and I'm just outlining those leaf shapes that I've added onto my page. And then I'm using one of my stencils from my Grow Positive stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp some of those onto some collage paper. I think I go onto the collage paper, yeah, with some archival ink. And then those are going to be cut out and stuck onto my page as well. I mean, you can stamp them straight in, but you run the risk, if you don't get a really, really good stamped image, that, you know, you might be looking at it and thinking, I've ruined it now, I've spoilt it. So this is a way to safeguard that happening, really. So you can stamp it onto collage paper. You know, if you don't like it, it doesn't matter. You can use it as collage fodder and pop it to one side. But at least this way you can be sure that you're going to get a really good stamped image to use on your page. And then you can see I am just layering those over the top of the botanical ones that I've drawn on my page. And I'm using matte medium to stick the collage paper in. So this collage paper is from Dina Wakley. It's one of her lovely clear collage papers, so nice. This is also one of my stamps. This is Dots and Dashes from Funky Fossil, and here I'm just using white, and you can see how pretty that makes these little elements look that I've added onto the page. So all we've used to create that is the stencil, the stamp, and another stencil, and yeah, you've created a really fun little sort of add-on to your journal page, and I've left that space in the middle for some writing. So now, just as a bit of a contrast, and this is a contrast with the green, I'm just adding little pops of pink, using a little tube to stamp some circles onto my page. So that works quite well, doesn't it, as a little pop of colour against the greens that are on there already. And then, just because there is some left and I don't like to waste it, I'm just going to then go in with my little fan brush and add some very small pink splatters as well. So then that all gets dried really carefully, and then again I'm going in with a white pen for my text, because I wanted to stick with the nice sort of white edge that I created to my page. I didn't want to bring too much attention to the centre of the page. I wanted it to play quite nicely together, and using that white pen really does that. If it's out of your hands, it deserves freedom from your mind, is what I think it says. Yeah. 2. I am a terrible worrier. I worry a lot, and worrying is just, it's utterly pointless, isn't it? It's silly, doesn't change anything. And even though I know that, I can't always stop it. But this was a really great quote that spoke to me on a day when I'd had a head full of worries. A lot of the worries, you probably know if you are worriers, are things that you've got no control over. And this quote was just like, yeah, if it's not something you can control, you need to let it go, because there's nothing you can do about it. And I never realised how much I twiddle my pen around when I'm in the middle of writing. I think it's because I am, look, there I go again, watching something while I'm working, or listening to something, or I'm thinking. It's very funny. It's like watching yourself through a microscope. It's really, really bizarre. Right, and that is the finished page. So those pretty elements around the edge just created using the stamps and stencils. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found some inspiration. You can find all of my goodies on my website, artjournallove.com, and I hope to see you again soon.